The head of NATO is meeting with President Trump at the White House today as the president demands that European countries spend more on their own security.
I said, no, I won't protect if you're not paying. If you're delinquent or if the money isn't paid, why would we do that? Hundreds of, actually, probably close to $600 billion came in, and NATO became strong from that standpoint. And now we have to use it wisely, and we have to get this war over with.
Let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. So, Willie, what is on the docket for today's meeting between the NATO Secretary General and President Trump, and how is their relationship?
Hey there, Lindsay. Good to be with you. Well, as we are speaking, these moments between the president and the Secretary General, the former Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Rutte, this was still playing out. So we anticipate that the president has more to say in terms of not only the situation with NATO, but also Ukraine and Russia. But the top line of this conversation is essentially a focus on Ukraine, a focus on this ceasefire. The president saying there are some good signals outside of Russia and that he would be open to a conversation or perhaps meeting President Putin. But time will tell if the Russians will agree to this ceasefire, this 30-day ceasefire that the Ukrainians say that they're on board with. Of course, U.S. officials were speaking with the Ukrainians earlier this week in Saudi Arabia. Now it's Moscow's turn. And Steve Witkoff, the president's envoy, is there, has touched down in Moscow earlier this morning to do just that, to have those conversations with the Russians. So the president is saying that it's promising that Putin is perhaps open to this ceasefire agreement. But the details have still yet to be worked out, though, Lindsay.
And I want to go now to the ongoing trade war. This morning, President Trump threatened to put tariffs on wine and champagne if Europe doesn't drop tariffs on whiskey. Today, the finance minister of Canada and leader of Ontario are also meeting with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to discuss the ongoing tariffs. What is the latest on where we're at?
Yeah, and I'm a rosé guy, so I'm watching this one closely to see what the price of rosé, if it goes up, if these tariffs come into play. But look, in all seriousness, this is part of the negotiation tactic for this White House. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, said essentially that these tariffs are about President Trump making a deal. And he, of course, is having that meeting with the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, today to discuss a path forward. Remember, Ontario threatened to put some 25% tariff on energy exports to 3 U.S. states, New York, Michigan, and Minnesota, if my memory serves me correctly, in terms of the energy costs that those Americans would have to pay with those tariffs. That was a threat that was they then backed off after Trump. The White House threatened to put more tariffs, specifically those steel and aluminum tariffs, threatened to raise them to 50%. The 25% tariffs are still on the play here because those have already gone into effect, but still nonetheless, the White House saying that this is part of the president's vision and that economic plan, although it is creating some uncertainty, but that uncertainty, the White House says, is part of the plan here. And they're hoping that it doesn't affect things down the road. Lindsay.
Okay. Willie James Inman, thanks so much.